remove the cam bearings out of this LS today and put new ones back in. But before we do that, we're gonna clean this mess up, take the old bearing races out, prep this thing to get rebuilt. So I've got the tool set up at the very end here. We'll pop this back one out first and see how it goes. I like this centering tool, it seems decent. There we go. You can see the copper coming through on the bearing there, and this side is just completely trashed. Yeah, these are bad. Once again, look at that. There's no reason to not change those out. So now I'm going to spray this down with a little bit of Spray 9 and then steam it clean. Staining and oil and junk off of here in preps for our rebuild. I'm not doing any surfaces that are actually sort of necessary. I was gonna try to get some of this junk off. And it won't be perfect, but you know what? I'll feel better about myself. Let's get our special effects going here. Oh, I wish I had a hot tank. This whole thing could just go in and come out looking new. The one thing that's nice is it's a full aluminum block. Easy to kind of work with here. Oh look, these drying bearing races. Yay. I'm gonna try to put in the first bearing. There's a handy guide on your box that tells you which positions are which. You should also just put them in as they are in the box, I guess. That's what I've been told and what I've read. I am going to put some assembly lube in here, just because. Okay, now I gotta make sure I keep my bearing clocked in position, which I'm probably gonna check about 17 times before I'm convinced it's in the right spot. That feels about right. We'll give her some love taps first. Anybody see if anything happened? Oh, I do believe we're on our way in. Ooh, we're very close. We have to go a tiny bit further. And that's why we do that. Another couple love taps. Almost. There we go. So, all cam bearings are in. Tested. I think they're all in the right spot. What I'm gonna do is take the old cam, lube it right up, and see how we're doing here. I know you're supposed to lube these as they go in too, but this is a little bit of a roached cam. I guess, you know what, I shouldn't say that, it's not terrible. Let's just see what we can get here. Oh, I'm gonna have to keep lubing as I go here. Next. And there we go. We're in. Okay, so we're well lubed. Cam slid in super easy. Okay, now if this turns nice and easy the whole way through, I'm stoked. Don't feel tight spots. And I'm barely putting any pressure on that, and that's put next to no lube. So I think we're okay. We may have successfully done some cam bearings. All right, Pull this cam back out gently. So today's been a fun day. We're back on the LS block. Yesterday we did the cam bearings. Today we are going to do the crank, well, the mains, and then the crank bearings. So we're going to start with the mains. And I've got the crank out. New. Where else? What else we got going on here? I have both red and green plasti gauge. I'm going to start with the red. There's a lot of debate online as to which to use for an LS. Apparently the red has a little more margin of error, we'll say. Just from what I read. That's all I read. I don't know. These things come up, then I pretend like I can read and I go through them. But the fun part is we finally get to dig into our box of parts. So this is the new stuff. So this is our new cam plate and bolt and our 3-bolt sprocket, as we are getting rid of the active fuel management. I'm looking for main bearings. There's our lifter guides. Higher this might be main bearings. Let's see. I thought I had a nice table all set up, and I've already messed that up. And these are ta-da, mains. Let's set our first one in. And they have these little notches on them, just so it's basically an alignment notch. It's kind of nice. And see the notch right there aligns up with that little tub. Pretty straightforward. Even though I'm missing it entirely. And there we go. And then you can see your oiling hole lines right up. Right there. Now I got stock bearings because I don't think we're worn down, but that's what the plasti gauge is for. One side of the bearing has holes in it. The other side of the bearing does not. So you gotta make sure the one with the holes goes on the engine side, because that's where the oil comes out and makes life happy for your engine. Alright, once again, see the oiling hole, and that one. They're lined up. Got 2 more to do. Then Frankenstein's gonna go in. Then we're gonna start the main bearing check to see if we've got proper clearance. If we do, lube them up, put the crank back in, start putting in pistons. Okay, so we have our plasti gauge on. Now we take our main cap. There we go. And there's a very interesting way that you do these. Do the 2 inner, and then the sides, and then the outer. The inner are the longer bolts. Make sure we can get them started. Being that it's aluminum, I just really want to make sure I can start them by hand a little bit, so I know I've got the thread and I'm not going to cross thread anything. There we go. You can see there's still a gap there. I'm going to just snug that down. Go kind of back and forth here until I see this bottom out. There we go. I don't want to get too aggressive. There. Please stop getting loose. There we go. Now, from what I understand, these aren't torque to yield, so it's fine to reuse these. I'm going to triple check that because this is coming back out anyway. This one is 15 degrees. The sides are 18 degrees. we go. There we go. So I don't have a degree gauge on it this time, but if 90 degrees is here, I'm gonna say 80 is about there. The only reason I'm doing it this way is to test the plastic gauge. I'll get a proper degree wheel for the rest. Perfect. We'll say that's right. Now I'll reverse it and check our plastic gauge out and see where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, here we go. A little wiggle. That's all we need. All right, we've smushed plastic gauge. We're working here. It's looking like we're at a 0.002. Would be my guess. Yep, I would say that's it. No? It's a little thinner than that, huh? Doesn't know that. Oh, I guess that would be this one. The 0.003. Yep. Which I think I have read is in spec for an LS, but let me double check once again on my magic machine here. Yep, 02 is exactly what it's supposed to be. Before I get too far in, I'm gonna hone the cylinders out. So I packed the bottom where we did the bearings full of all sorts of stuff. I just have a stone hone, but it's a super fine grit. We'll just put it in like this. I have a lot of lube already in there. Just making sure we get everything we can here. Okay, and I checked that out, and I'm going to continue on and do every other hole on the engine, which you don't need to watch. Be back. So we've plastic gauge stuff, and you can see I'm putting some of the mains back in. They're not torqued, they're just in. Little piece pops in there like that. Okay, satisfying click. Total overkill in assembly lube, because for $5 it's well worth it. Okay, so I've gone through the rather tedious steps of torquing these down. Bit unnerving, but moment of truth. Are we gonna spin? Come on. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Like butter. Oh, she's nice. Good stuff. Okay, stoked on that. Next, we're gonna be moving on to the pistons. And I'm going to go dig out the bearings for those. That will be another day for me, though, because I am done for today, considering I have all this cleanup to do. I hope it was as exciting as fun for you as it was for me. I think that was my wedding vows. Anyway, bye.